Oh shit.
Damn, son.
Bow 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 bow.
First thing I do is
bow.
with this new microphone is shout into it. Oh, what's up?
Dude, you sound so good, dude. New mic. Welcome to the new season of Newsin Around. You're listening to me and John Sharks talk about
Season 2's and around, you guys.
Season
it's all
2.
up from here. No more random extended breaks. No more shitty audio. It's better than shitty audio.
We're fucking doing it. Welcome. You know, it's actually good timing that we took that month off because not a lot happened.
Yeah, it's a slow news month, dude. Super slow.
Yeah.
Very little happened.
It's actually ironic that we took like 5 weeks off and the most wild shit happened like back to back. Actually, you know what? Just a couple of wild things and they all came out of America, so it's not really, it's kind of whatever.
How fucking wild is it that it's like we can see live like footage of a presidential assassination attempt in our lifetimes and be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Just look at it and be like, huh, that's pretty hectic, I guess. Anyway, back to doom scrolling.
Yeah, I wonder like when JFK got bopped, I wonder if like a week later everyone was like, oh well, yeah. It just seems like that news rocked the country a bit longer. To be fair, he was also killed.
Yeah, if they'd really got him, I think we'd still be talking about it.
Yeah.
What about that photograph? That guy was like, hey, here's a photo of his ear. Looks totally fine, right, you guys? Do you see that?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, right. He tweeted, check out this photo. Some journalist who, takes photos and that, tweeted a picture of Trump's ear, allegedly current a week after a week after it was torn by a bullet, and it was like this. It's totally fine.
Right, interesting.
Totally
yeah,
fine. It's totally fine, dude.
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I don't know how I feel about all of that. Like, it's just we can get too deep in the weeds on the conspiracies and stuff. I just don't.
Hey, man, I'm just saying that guy allegedly posted a photo of his ear being fine. I'm not saying anyone conspired anything. I'm not saying I'm not saying his time in WWE taught him how to palm a blade or whatever,
Sure.
That's not what I'm saying.
Well, a good bio oil is going to get his ear back to...
That's a good point.
Back to
we should stick to the facts. He's a pedophile rapist. Yeah. Dude, wild though. Wild. And the kid that had a pop at him. Just, wow.
That's a weird one. That's like...
Way to go, champ.
I don't know a huge... Well,
it's wild. No, honestly, it's wild, dude. But like, he looked like exactly every school shooter as well. You know what I mean? Like, he was just... He was going to shoot at something. He needed to feel something with his gun. Dude, so, honestly, like missing the president and killing that innocent bystander.
Yeah, that
is sad.
It's sad, and honestly, you shouldn't, like, whether or not you agree with a politician's politics or not, you shouldn't try and kill them.
You shouldn't.
That's not how effective democracies work.
Yeah, not with killing.
But how have you been, dude? I haven't spoken to you for 5 weeks now. What's going on?
Yeah, it's 5 weeks since we've spoken at all, since we've seen each other.
We only talk in this context
outside of the podcast. Yeah.
We're
documenting it. We're documenting 100% of our relationship for the internet, allegedly. Yeah, dude, I've been good. I've been eating sentient beings at every possible opportunity.
Nice.
So obviously I feel a lot more physically resilient and less depressed, although more morally culpable in a lot of ways, I guess. Yeah, but I kind of, I don't know how I feel about the ethics of meat eating now that I do it all the time, having not done it for quite a long time, because it's clearly wrong. Yeah, so I feel healthy.
So that I think so many things that we engage in are clearly wrong. It's just that eating of meat is kind of the most obvious, I think. It's like, dude, where the fuck do our clothes come from? Have you seen how they make phones?
Yeah.
Like almost at every level of making a mobile phone, is like they've got it's just Africans digging
Oh,
the
it's just
minerals
bad, dude.
out
Yeah.
of the earth.
Yeah.
Then the employees in China jumping out of the windows because that's so horrible to put them together. It's only really when you get to the Apple store that you actually start to enjoy the experience.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. It does seem to be that in order to have a few people having a pretty good time, you need to put your thumb on the scales in the other direction and
Yeah.
make it so a bunch
Yeah.
of other people have a really bad time. I was thinking about this last night, how I would feel if I spent however long it takes to learn how to like shoot a deer, which you can do in this country, right?
Yeah.
And then how I would feel about, I would cry a lot probably killing that deer. But I was also thinking ultimately, if you started murdering all of the animals that you actually ate, you would have an intimate relationship by its nature with all of those animals that you killed. Your murder victims that you then consumed, Jeffrey Dahmer style, would be with you forever in a way that packet of sausages that I got from Coles, because it's on special, because I'm at the end of that thing and it's kind of all the intimacy's gone from the actual act of taking the life. There's no respect that I need to give those sausages. You know what I mean? I'm not weeping over the sausages the same way I would over the body of the animal that actually got killed. It just feels like it's the modern society that puts you at the end of so much of these processes and kind of like strips out all of the humanity out of them. Of course, it's upsetting. Like it would
Well, yeah,
feel
'cause
more morally, I feel more morally sound and less culpable if I was out there hunting my own meat, and weeping over those bodies, lighting some incense, like showing them some respect and also killing them. It feels like, I don't know. Yeah, it's the same process that like turns love and intimacy into porn or something. If that's not too
Interesting.
weird a segue. You know what I mean? Like it's the
Sidebar.
same.
Well,
We're at the end of this we live this weird world. We're monkeys, we're primates, but we live in these weird little boxes. It's strange.
Yeah, well, just a sidebar. I mean, I actually ate venison. That was a deer that was killed. I believe. I'm not sure if it was with a rifle or a bow potentially.
Holy
By a
shit.
good friend of ours who hunted it and like field stripped it and then cooked it and then stored that meal, which fed his family for months.
Yeah.
Because there was just so much on it. And honestly, it was one of the best meals I've ever had in my life. He
Yeah.
said it was, I was like, what was that like? He's like, it's perfect. It's the best for both of us. I just pay entry for the hunting. That deer had no idea what was going on. He was just on his morning routine. And then it was lights out instantly. Everyone wins. Apart from the deer, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, sure, apart from the deer. But it was always going to be apart from the deer. Because that's what it was like when we got here. And I no longer think that you can actually thrive on tofu and beans and rice, or I can't anyway. So, yeah, I do think that is the most morally correct way to do it. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm morally obligated to move in that direction. It would be sick if we had guns, bro. That'd be pretty staunch,
Kind
just
of.
for real.
If
Not
you-
to say that on the potty or anything, but like,
if you can organize,
dope.
I just don't like. I don't think you have to take everything to the outermost extreme. Like, it's nice
Do
that
you
you've
not?
had these thoughts.
Do you not, Patrick?
No, it's nice that you've had these thoughts, but you don't have to go and start murdering all the cows that you eat. Like, I reckon
Yeah.
you'd do that once and you'd be like vegan forever.
Well, that's the
the
thing, dude. Yeah, it's like, I do feel in some ways it's like hypocritical to eat the meat if you're not willing to kill it. But like sometimes I'm like, I don't. The whole point is I think it's unethical to do it.
But it's just you can't like you could apply that to if you applied that to everything that you do that is morally reprehensible in
Yeah.
your life.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have time for anything else. You'd be making your own clothes. You'd be
Yeah.
writing letters to people
wouldn't-
and
you
then
wouldn't,
delivering them
right?
yourself.
And not to be that guy that you sometimes think I am, but all consumption under capitalism is immoral by its nature. The system forces you to be complicit in a bunch of immoral shit because the cheapest underpants are made by children in Indonesia. And you can't afford to spend more money on underpants because it's squeezing you too.
My underpants are squeezing me too.
These underpants also constrict a lot of freedom, moral freedom, testicular
What
freedom.
what are you leaning into news-wise this week? What are you thinking? What are you thinking about?
Yeah, good question. Really good question. Not a lot, honestly.
Okay, I've got a lot of local stories.
Hmm.
I've got some, I've got some people who like just dive straight into this one real quick. Mum's
Hmm.
push for G-string bikini ban at public pool sparks debate.
Hmm.
So this woman, this mother of three, this mother of three sons, which I think is an interesting point, right? She's trying to ban G-string bikinis from her local pool.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Her name is.
So that
I'll just
so
call
her
her.
sons aren't exposed to things.
Well, look, I don't know how often her three sons are going to this public pool. I assume that no one really goes to public pool. She's describing these scenes at this public pool as, quote, pornographic, end quote.
Wow.
Which
And
I just
where
think
is
is
this
really.
pool, dude? So we can not go
it's
there
actually.
because it sounds awful.
It's actually it's the Todd Energy Aquatic Centre in New Zealand, in New Plymouth.
Way to go, New Plymouth, for your pornographic good looks.
Yeah, and this I'll just call this mother the mother of these three. It's interesting that she describes these scenes as pornographic. I'd be really interested to know how much porn her three sons are consuming in a week without having going to this pool. It just seems like she's trying to kill the wrong cow, you know?
You wonder if she's looked at any mainstream pornography, if she's been on the front page of Pornhub recently, if she's calling this stuff pornographic,
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's just a diverse cross-section of horrible, very mature paraphilias, Yeah. Or if it's just, people with a bit of ass hanging out at the public pool.
Well, I mean, like, look, I would wager that at least one of her three sons, their Instagram feed has, the odd bum here and there.
You're saying those kids are already into the porno and the proper stuff, a drop of the hard stuff. That she's worried about fucking twiggy
just
sticks,
having
little,
What I know about the internet and the behavior of young men, I reckon they're finding a lot more horrible shit than what this pool that they sometimes go to. It's like when people try and ban books. It's just like, you think that the books are who the fuck is borrowing a book?
You think people are really reading the book? Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's one book in this library in one town in the middle of nowhere. Are you really worried that the children of this bumfuck town are going to go and borrow a book and then read it?
Yeah.
And then somehow
absorb the information inside it and be changed by it somehow in a negative way?
Yeah.
It's not happening.
And that ripple effect will then they're going to go and speak to another child. Like the whole thing is just
Face
full
to
of
face.
holes.
Yeah, it's not happening. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
That
just
fucking
think,
that little algorithmic fucking dopamine addicting propaganda feed that they stare into for 11 hours a day might be slightly more concerning, but it also doubles as a parent, I guess. So can't fuck with that thing.
Well, what's interesting, she goes on to say, quote, "My family has often been left feeling uncomfortable, and the enclosed area means looking away or moving spaces is not always an option. I would love our local pool to be a family-friendly space where community members of all ages, backgrounds, beliefs, and cultures," that's an important tidbit I'd like to come back to, "can feel safe and free to enjoy themselves." So she wants everyone to enjoy themselves, no matter who they are or their culture, provided that's how they enjoy themselves the way she would like.
But no one steps on anyone else's toes kind of thing. Which in itself is a cultural norm that she's subscribing to. So she is violating her own, she's sneaking in a governing cultural principle that everyone should be, whatever, a certain level of decorum or whatever. You're kind of sneaking that in at the same time as saying respect all cultures. But this is the overall cultural archetype that we're going to be governed by.
Yeah, it's a weird one. And she's and clearly the culture that she is presiding under allows women to wear whatever the fuck they want at the public pool. So she doesn't want all cultures to feel safe and free to enjoy themselves. She just wants her particular brand of that culture.
Yeah. What about the nudists? That's a culture.
What about the nudists? It sounds like she's trying to turn the Todd Energy Aquatic Centre in New Plymouth into some sort of camp.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
as you say, she's worried about the sherbet sticks, and the kids are already snorting coke
She
off their
goes on.
iPhones.
She continues. She says, "I don't want to be an overprotective mum. Is that the space we're in with society now? If so, I'll find ways to prepare my kids for that. But do we have to do that?" She
Do we
believes
have
there
to
are now.
prepare our children for the world?
Yeah.
Can't the
Yes,
world
actually.
just be nicer for my children? It's quite
She
a lot of
believes that.
effort to prepare my children for real life. Could we just
Yeah.
tone real life down a little bit?
Holy shit! If I had, dude, if seeing someone's bum in one place was all you had to deal with, what a world.
Yeah, walk away. Walk away from
She
the bum.
believes there are now few spaces where her boys can, quote, enjoy themselves without having to be on alert, avoid places, or look away. The boys aren't looking away. The boys, probably
The
pro
boys
bum.
are okay. The boys are alright
Boys
with
are fine.
bums. Yeah,
Like-
yeah. Bums are natural. Boys, bums, it's all fine.
And depending on the
I mean,
age
how
of
old
the
are these
boys,
children? Are we
well,
like?
that's the thing. Depending on their age, they're either very, very interested or not interested at all.
They either don't see those bums because it's not an issue. You don't need to, moralize about the human body in children that young. Or, they're becoming aware of bums and maybe they're sneaking a peek or two, the odd bum. It's a perfectly natural part of their development.
There's actually there's a poll at the end of this article, a live poll with just under 3,000 votes. And the question is, do you think G-string bikinis should be banned at pools and beaches? I can't yet see the results of this poll because I haven't voted myself. I'm going to go with no. Let swimmers wear them.
Let's vote. Let's see if you land on the right side of history.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
These results will shock you, Sharks.
Uh-huh.
50% of voters said yes, get rid of them.
Yeah, right.
44% said no, let swimmers wear them, and 6% said I'm undecided.
I love those 6% of people that were like, I don't have an opinion on this thing. Well, my opinion doesn't matter, and this is a non-issue topic. Sorry to shit on the news, but it doesn't matter whether or not this this person she objects to bums. Like, none of us are going to do anything about it. And it's more or less split right down the middle, except the people who are like, I don't really have an opinion on this. I better say that. It's like, I don't have an opinion on this thing that's inconsequential, but I'm still going to take the time to vote.
It's also such an interesting thing, and like, just of all the lessons she could be teaching her three boys in this scenario, it's if you complain about something, someone will fix it, because the aquatic center is considering the ban, which I just think it's not okay. The operations manager, Mike Roberts, said, "I can certainly put it forward for discussion when asked if they would be considering a ban." It's just like, why teach your children that lesson? Like, if you I remember being a young man, and I was at a NRL game, and at halftime saw the cheerleaders, and someone next to me said the cheerleaders are there to teach you self-control. Don't look at the cheerleaders too much. That was the lesson. Cool.
I thought they were there to like lead the crowd cheering, like to sort of lead the cheers.
Yeah, well.
Okay, no, it's fine.
But for me, for 10-year-old
For you
me or
personally,
whatever,
it was.
Yeah, they were like, hey,
God was testing you morally.
Yeah, they're like, hey, don't look at them too much, just a bit.
Just a bit.
But
Bird-like glances.
Anyway. Yeah.
Sort of strung together into one continuous bird-like glare. Yeah.
Bird-like glances. That's great. Yeah, well, look, I'll follow this up next week, whether this mum of three has had her complaints
It's
heard.
important.
But that's the kind of shit I'm dealing with this week, Sharks.
Yeah. It's a bit like, it reminds me, it's people move into, a new apartment or whatever development that's right near a music venue that's been blasting music for 30, 40 years. And then they make a bunch of noise complaints within 6 months, and that music venue's license has to change. And now no more loud noise after 9 p.m. or whatever. They basically move into a vibing inner city neighborhood, and then immediately kill the vibe by being like, no, it's a bit loud here. I was like, yeah, you moved next door to a venue. It's always been, it was there first, Yeah. People build cities and then complain about the wildlife in the cities, There's bugs in your house.
Yeah, I just
Because you built a house on top of some bugs, man.
I was looking, I was looking at a local Facebook group, and someone was complaining that there were so many emergency vehicles with their sirens on going up the highway recently, and it was getting ridiculous. And someone asked, did they put the highway in after you moved in? like, just so ridiculous. Like, just so absurd. And of all the kind of things to complain about, like, too many emergency vehicles. Like, you'll definitely never need one of those yourself.
Yeah.
Just the short-sightedness was baffling to me.
Yeah. It's that same highway that you use to go and get bread and milk.
Yeah, that connects you to the rest of the town.
You've probably heard this already too, but scientists gene engineer living mosquito repellent from human skin bacteria. WTF?
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, new bacteria.
I hadn't heard that.
A new bacteria design, some scientists playing God, reduces mosquito attraction by up to 64.4%, which is that's a detailed number. And lasts over a week. Yeah. So we've taken human skin bacteria and we've made a super skin bacteria out of it that will last at least a week on you. This living skin bacteria, and Mozzie's land, and presumably they're really not down with your super aggressive skin bacteria. Because who would be? That's grossing me out. Yeah. And mosquitoes are like, yuck, and they get out of there.
Does it last for a week, even like with like typical wash routines?
Yeah, I'd say so, dude. These motherfuckers are really on you. Yeah. So as far as I can tell, these scientists playing God had genetically engineered a terrifying human skin bacteria. Terrifying to mosquitoes, but shouldn't be to us. Yeah, and then they were painting some mice at one point. That's dope. Always have to keep fucking with mice. You notice? These people always fucking with mice. It's fine.
Yeah, I think it's because mice are like, they're easy to capture. There's lots of them, and we generally don't give a fuck about them.
Yeah. I guess because they're little, it's easier to be like, they're probably not experiencing anything. Yeah. Except pain responses or whatever the fuck. So anyway, bunch of perverts painted some mice with skin bacteria, but they can say pretty confidently that if you let them colonize your skin bacteria with their mutant lab bacteria, possibly from a lab in China, it doesn't say, but it doesn't say it's not, then you'll be sort of colonized by this colonial skin bacteria. And mozzies will leave you alone.
Interesting. That definitely sounds like it's going to have no issues whatsoever, and you won't get like a really aggressive full-body athlete's foot or something.
Yeah. Or like it turns you into fucking zombies or whatever, but like sprinting full-on, like 28 days later, rage zombies.
You've also, I reckon that's really, it's a nice idea, scientists. Like, not bad, but I think for the everyday user, they're only going to need mozzie protection, 1 or 2 evenings a week.
Yeah.
Like they're just going to do a little off around the ankles and wrists, and they're probably fine. You don't coat me in a week-long bacteria.
I think probably mosquitoes are still that really hectic in parts of the world where they carry like malaria and gnarly shit. Like mosquitoes are still like an existential problem in parts of the world, carrying a lot of disease. So those people are probably quite happy to flip the coin. And from what I can tell, there's an entire coin flip whether or not the skin bacteria turns you into a rage zombie. But for those people, that's a legitimate kind of trade-off,
Yeah.
50-50 chance of being a rage zombie, but not having to worry about mozzies for the next 5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worth it. It's interesting. I was reading about what would happen if we removed mosquitoes from the planet, and not much, they reckon.
Just good.
Whereas if we took all the bees off the planet, we're genuinely fucked. And in fact, I saw a scary
we're
video.
We're dead within 12 hours, I think.
It was a scary video from a farmer in the UK, and he was like, where are all the bugs this season? It's British summer, there's no bugs. So there's a lot of flies, but there's no bugs, there's no insects. What's going on? And it worries me, Sharks, because without insects, like, food chains collapse, and we're still in the food chain to a degree.
We're completely in the food chain. It's just that you and I engage in it, as we were saying, in this kind of far removed at the end of it, where we can't really affect it sort of way. Where
Mm.
food, like everything else, is a product.
Mm.
You know?
I'd like to keep bees if I can. If I ever have the space for it, I'd a
Yeah,
nice little beehive or something.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think at this point, everyone agrees that we should take care of the planet, that humans have an effect on the climate, that it
Hmm.
is more complex and interrelated than we understand. We're learning more and more about it all the time. I was reading a thing about the minerals on the sea floor. They actually
Uh-huh.
produce oxygen in a reaction
Wow.
down there,
Wow.
right? Completely changes our conception of the nature of life at these like depths without light and how they actually get oxygen down there and like the start abiogenesis, the beginning of life on Earth. Because we thought as like oxygen, I think venting oxygen from like, whatever, like under the ocean floor or whatever, like fissures in the rock down to like magma vents or some shit. But now that they
Hmm.
know, oh, these rare minerals also produce oxygen in this like reaction,
That's
splitting up
wild.
the water. Yeah, it totally changes everything. By the way, those are the same minerals that they really, really want to mine the shit out of the seabed floor for
Mm.
to put into batteries. Because wouldn't batteries be a great idea? Don't we need more
Yeah.
fucking
Interesting.
batteries? It's like, guys, maybe don't. We don't even. We're only just beginning to learn how what that even does that. We have no
Mm.
idea how that's going to affect the environment of the thing that we're already fucking up. Maybe just don't touch it.
Yeah.
I think we're all on the same page with that. There's just like 180 blokes who are making money off it or whatever that are like, yeah, nah, in a bit, fuck
Hmm.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's complicated. I didn't actually include this story this week, but I saw a really interesting headline talking our understanding of tree bark has just changed because they've
Mm.
found that tree bark can absorb methane, and we didn't know that. It's like 2024, and we're just figuring this shit out. You know?
Yeah. 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 I do think we're not as smart and as together as we think we are. You know,
Yeah.
we have this idea that we're really on top of it.
Speaking of
Tell me.
maybe not being as smart and on top of it as we would like, a third of American sports fans believe their pre-game ritual increases their chances of winning.
Oh
So
yeah.
basically, what fans do pre-game, a third of those people genuinely believe that it helps their team win. A recent poll of 2,000 American
Hmm.
sports fans revealed just how emotionally invested they are and how much of a return they get for those investments. More than 22% of all respondents have a pre-game ritual they do each time their favorite team or player competes. But for self-described hardcore fans, 32% participate in various pre-game traditions. While over
Mm.
one
What
third
kind of stuff?
admitted their
What
required
helps get it over
pre-game
the line?
rituals. Yeah, some of them, a third of them just say it just makes me feel like I'm part of the team. Just enjoy doing it, you know. Another
Mm.
31% staunchly feel their pre-game ritual increases their team or players' chances of winning. So basically, maybe having a couple of beers pre-game or putting their scarf on or whatever, they're granting a buff to their whole team.
Mm. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. When asked about their habits before games, most cited traditions like flaunting team merch, having cookouts, and tailgating, which is a thing they do in America.
Okay.
It sounds really... Tailgating's not driving up
Yeah.
behind someone really fast. It's like you all get in the car park of the arena or whatever, and you
Mm.
like put down the tailgates of your trucks, and you cook barbecue, and you drink beers.
Yeah. You hang out and drink in the back of your ute.
Yep. Which they call a
Yep.
truck.
Yep. Yeah. 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 And it's bigger than a ute a bit these days, I
Way
think.
bigger. Way
Yeah.
bigger. I walked past an
Needlessly
American
bigger,
truck.
I gather. Yeah.
Yeah, I walked past an American truck the other day, and the top of the hood of the car, or bonnet, was up to my shoulder.
Mhm.
It's really fucking big. It's huge. Like they're just...
Yeah. Right.
When you're driving past, you're like, oh, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
Just standing next to it, I like is like the front of the car, the headlights are like here, right next to my shoulder. It's wild. They're so needlessly big. It's just why I don't understand why you need guns and trucks that big. Just pick one.
Yeah.
Like how
I don't think we need them here. I don't know why the lads are bringing them over.
Some people
Maybe
are
calm
really
down the lads. Yeah. Maybe just relax. Like, what's wrong with a Toyota Hilux, boys? Like, that's always been solid. It's Toyota. Parts are ubiquitous. They're cheap. It's fucking Hilux,
I
mate.
think,
It'll do the job.
Yeah, I'd like a Hilux actually over a Ram.
There you go.
A Ram pickup.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Get out of here. Yeah.
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 So there you go. A third of American sports fans
good.
believe their pre-game rituals increase their team's chance of winning. And who's to say it doesn't?
Right.
We don't know.
Not me, old friends. Americans, interesting guys. Do you remember that Home Alone 2? Donald Trump from Home Alone 2? He's he's a real estate, New York real estate guy. Yeah. Anyway, he's running for president of the whole country. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, and he's now up against no longer Biden. You familiar? Old mate was like, yeah, not doing it. And now it's Kamala, or Kamala rhymes with Pamela, Harris. You say Kamala or Kamala? Kamala.
I think
Kamala.
Kamala, I think.
Kamala.
Kamala?
Kamala?
I don't know. I think
I think it's Kamala. Anyway, bro, turns out Swifties, the people that really froth Taylor Swift and presumably her music, but also her cult of personality, they're apparently pretty pro-Democrat, wouldn't you know? Yeah. They're backing Kamala. Kamala.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Kamala.
I think they were back there.
They're all about it.
I believe they were backing Biden prior to this, and now they're backing Kamala.
Yeah. Now, it turns out they're frothing Kamala, and they're actually really, really, really good at organizing and getting behind and frothing for a chick, because they do that all the time, right?
Yeah,
so the networks are already all in place. They're already all connected. They're young. They're like enthusiastic and motivated. So the Republicans were just not prepared for the Swiftie storm. These people are incredibly well organized. And this quote from Wired: in less than a week, Swifties have turned their community into an online election headquarters for US Vice President Kamala Harris. And the campaign wants in on the effort. The Democrats are like, holy shit, Swifties, you guys are killing it better than us.
Interesting.
Thanks, GG. Yeah. Interesting cultural Venn diagram there.
That is interesting.
Crossover.
What is Kamala campaigning on, I wonder?
Not being Trump, I think, first and foremost, which is strong. I think that is very strong.
That's just, honestly, that's the shittest thing. Like, that's just...
Yeah, although, it is.
That's just so... The question America is asking, it's like, hey, would you like another 4 years of Donald Trump or anyone else? It's like, how...
Dude.
Fair enough if that's what you're doing at your first election ever, but doing it like this late into the piece, it's like, how'd you guys do this?
I heard this really horrible analysis that seems true. The establishment candidate and the populist candidate need each other. They can't have one that wins out over the other, because they're locked together in this mutually dependent relationship. The populist candidate needs the shitty establishment to say, hey, these guys are doing a terrible job. Obviously, I'm a better option, even though I'm just some outsider, some celebrity lunatic or whatever. And the establishment needs the terrible, ridiculous, hopeless populist, because how could they win against a competent opponent? They couldn't. They need each other. They're stuck in this horrible symbiotic thing. It's not... The game's rigged, son. It's rigged. It's rigged. It's supposed to be this way.
The game is absolutely rigged, and you need only look at the candidates to see how rigged it is. Because if it was about leading the country in the right direction, or looking after people, or doing the right thing by the nation, you would put someone like a Tulsi Gabbard or a Bernie Sanders. You wouldn't just put the person who is, keeping it warm in case the old guy turns out to be really old. It just seems like, for all the checks and balances, it seems like the system it doesn't look good over there right now. And
it does seem to be that the analysis that said, hey, if you just let like laissez-faire free market capitalism run, eventually it will fucking eat itself. Like those people were right.
Yeah. Well,
you
look,
do need a little
shout
bit
out to our...
You need some rules, man. You need some responsibilities. You need some governing morals other than just profit.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to our American listeners, because it sounds like it's going to be a bumpy closing season for you guys.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck over there. Sort it out. If you want, no pressure.
Yeah. No pressure. Boy impaled in the neck by meat hook.
Jesus Christ.
During ute drive. A boy had to be airlifted to hospital after suffering a serious neck injury when he was impaled by a meat hook. He was travelling in a ute with his dad on a property in the Western Downs in regional Queensland when his father hit a bump in the road. The boy's neck was caught on a meat hook. Where is the meat hook in this cabin that could take place?
Yeah.
His dad stopped the bleeding and drove him to the hospital, where the pair were met by paramedics and the life flight helicopter crew. A critical care doctor and paramedics stabilised the patient, Life Flight said, and he was flown to Queensland Children's Hospital in a serious but stable condition.
Jesus Christ.
If you've got all that utility space in your ute, put the meat hook in the tray, not in the cabin, I guess.
Yeah. Responsible meat hook owners are listening to this right now, and they're up in arms saying, that's not responsible storage of your meat hook. You know what?
Well, the NHA, they're really
That's
pushing back
awful.
this.
I'm so glad that neither you nor I nor anyone around us has a meat hook in their neck right now.
Man, I got a fishing hook through the palm of my hand once as a child because of my dad, and that sucked enough.
Yeah,
Like,
you're still,
we had a fishing rod, and it was like blowing in the wind, and the hook just caught my hand, and it went through like the big skin, and I was like, holy fuck, and it freaked me out. My dad was like, whoa, took it out.
That's upsetting.
That was upsetting. But a meat hook in the neck?
It's a different level of that same experience.
There's just so many, like, there's a lot of arteries in the neck as well. You breathe.
There's a lot of important stuff in the neck. I think you'd have a really hard time threading a meat hook through any part of the neck safely. And I wonder what they were even thinking.
Yeah. But he's okay, allegedly.
Thank Christ.
The boy and the hook.
Yeah, okay. Well, just fucking try to keep them separated.
Yeah.
Wow. Russia to train troops to use nuclear weapons on the battlefield. Way to go, Russia.
Interesting. Like calling in nuclear airstrikes?
No. Moscow's defense ministry says exercises will involve Iskander-M ballistic missiles and various aircraft. Russia will train its troops in Ukraine to use tactical nuclear weapons on the battlefield, Moscow has said. It doesn't... Combat use of non-strategic weapons. Doesn't it have clear indication? I mean, they're missiles. Oh, shit, missiles. Dude. I mean, the picture of one on the back of a fucking truck. I mean, a truck? It's just a regular truck. I mean, a truck with a nuclear weapon on the back is a fucking truck, if you ask me. Yeah, no, it doesn't have details per se, or if it does, I'm not super down on them. It's definitely a missile, pretty long one. Looks like you'd have to launch it off a vehicle platform, but they're doing it from the battlefield training, at least having training exercises.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Russia's like, oh yeah, we'll bring nukes as well.
Yeah, it's been interesting with other global conflicts. It's really pushed that conflict out of the limelight. I did read this morning that North Korea was sending troops to to go and help the Russian effort in their war against Ukraine, which I thought was interesting. If you were a North Korean soldier and you saw a bit of Europe, you'd be like, whoa, this war zone is way better than my home.
Yeah, yeah, that is bold, isn't it, for North Korea to
You
be
just
like, no worries, let's send a bunch of fucking troops to Europe.
Yeah, you just
Yeah,
leave immediately. You just bail. You just run
yeah,
somewhere else. And then eventually you'd run into someone who'd never seen a North Korean before.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
who has seen a North Korean?
yeah, yeah,
And then be like, whoa, dude, what are you doing out here? And there'd be a terrible language gap. And I hope that as many North Korean soldiers get to live like their secret life
yeah,
in Europe as
yeah.
possible.
I hope so, dude. I hope the very first sip of that can of Coke and the draw on that menthol cigarette, and every
Oh,
North Korean on the Russian front line is like, hang on a second.
yeah.
What the fuck? This
Yeah.
is delicious.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did imagine. I wonder I wonder what they've got over there. It's just crazy that like that you don't think
Meth.
about it like they got meth, yeah, but there's just some places that you just don't they're not even real. Like that's you just see these things in pictures on the screen and it's not even real. Like Donald Trump's not a real person. That guy's not actually thinking about shit. Sure, he's not real. North
Right.
Korea's not a real place.
Yeah.
Like all
I've
these
been
places, I'm like, no fucking way, dude. That's
I've
just we've
been
just made that
thinking
up.
this recently. I've been having this experience, I think versions of this experience, realizing that my experience of my life is actually super shallow. Like I have been given the impression of like an experience of like worldly, broad arts education. I know a lot of things about a lot of things. I don't, man. I don't know anything about anything. And I've received all of it through the same like three different forms of media, you know? Like I've been reading or watching or listening to stuff, and I don't really know. My new housemate moves in. He's from India, and I ask him questions about it. I'm like, holy fuck, yeah, right. There's all these people over there doing all this stuff with completely different, long, rich, deep cultural histories, and I don't know anything about any of them. I'm a
You really
fucking ignorant idiot. And the thing is,
not really.
no, not really though, but like the paradigm shift of being like, I thought I knew more about what was going on than I do,
Yeah,
and
sure.
realizing, oh yeah, it's all fake, I guess, in that way. Like I've received all of it superficially.
Well, no, but you're just seeing the world through the kaleidoscope of your culture. Like it's
Totally. I guess everything's kind of culturally mediated, but it's also like it's
sure.
mediated through the technology. It's something about like you can sit in one or two rooms of your house for 20 years and you can visit the world via your laptop, you know? But there's something about because every single experience comes to you through the same form, it reduces it and makes it samey to you. It's all it's all the same. Like
Yeah.
if I learn about this thing, it's the same as learning about that thing, you know? Donald Trump is as real as Miles Davis, is as real as John Singer Sargent, the portrait painter. Like they're all I receive all of it through the same kind of condensed media.
I think the only thing you can really hope to do, because you can't possibly absorb all of it in a single lifetime, I think you just pick the bits that interest you the most and just go after it. Like just
Yeah.
I've found like the past week, I'm really into Michelangelo's sculpture.
Mm.
Like and
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably
Mm-hmm.
never ever going to I'm probably never going to sculpt marble myself ever.
Oh yeah, I'd
But
love
I'm
to be a
like
sculptor
thinking
though.
I'm thinking I need to go on trips to go see some of this stuff. Like it looks so incredible. This guy was a
Bro,
master. And
I
this
yeah.
fucking thing that he sculpted at like 20 something years old.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it is beautiful. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like I need
Yeah.
to go see this shit. This guy
Yeah.
was incredible.
Yeah. I I had a guitar teacher when I was a teenager tell me about visiting Michelangelo's David and describing to me how amazing it was. And I decided, I was like, fuck, I kind of want to go and see that. And for years, that was like a kind of informal goal of mine. It's like, I kind of want to go and see it. And I did. I went and I saw it. And we were in Rome and it's in Florence. We had to like, whatever, you go over a little bit. I don't remember. Um, and We spent the day, we had lunch, this big, like, it was a thing. And we're early evening, we're walking to go and see David. And my mate is like, bro, there's marble all over Rome. Hey, like, there's marble statues fucking everywhere, dude. We're in Rome. It's been nothing but like beautiful marble statues for a week.
Yeah.
Like, why is this one, Just asking me like earnestly, like,
That's a
what's so
reasonable
special
question.
about this? Totally reasonable. And I was like, dude, I actually don't know. Hey, like, I have no idea why why everyone froths this one in particular, because you're right. There's fucking statues everywhere. And you go in there and you see David and you just shut the fuck up. And you're like, oh, okay, right. This is better than all of those other ones. It is. It is more amazing and mesmerizing and powerful, and it's huge, and it's just fucking, it's wild, dude. So
I saw
yeah,
that's what I'm really keen to see, because it's one thing to see photos, but I want to see some of this stuff in real life.